Hello students, welcome to ICB batch 1. So today I'm here to discuss about one of the part of your science syllabus, that is chemistry. Okay, so as you know students, we have the written paper for science that is of total 80 marks. Okay, and the entire paper is being divided into four sections: section A, section B, section C, and section D. Section A consists of 1 mark questions. All the questions in section A are of 1 mark each. Section B consists of 2 marks question. Section C consists of 3 mark questions, and section D, which is the last section, consists of 5 mark questions. Okay, so today we are going to discuss key in sections how many questions related to chemistry are being asked and what type of questions are asked. Okay, so to begin with, let's start with the section A. Now students, as just now I have told you ki section A consists of 1 mark questions. Okay, so total number of questions of related to chemistry are asked in this section is almost 5 to 6 questions are asked. Okay, so let's see what type of questions can be asked. The very first section, the very first type of question can be asked is equation related question. Now equation related questions also can have the various type, okay, which we can see over here. Now, chemical equations can be asked differently. The very first thing, they will give you the statement. Okay, they will give the reaction ka statement, and based on that statement, you have to write the reaction. For example, you can see a reaction was brought about between manganese oxide and aluminium. Here you can see reaction was brought about between manganese oxide and aluminium. That means manganese oxide and aluminium are the reactants over here. Okay, so we have reactants over here, that is manganese oxide MnO2 plus aluminium, that is Al. Okay, now when you talk about writing the reaction part, as you know, aluminium is more reactive than manganese. It will displace manganese from its position. Okay, fine, taking the place of manganese. You can see over here, it has displaced manganese and it has took the place, aluminium has took the place of manganese and combined with oxygen, that is Al2O3 is formed along with the liberation of heat. Okay, so after writing the entire equation, you have to balance it down. Fine. Okay, one more example we'll see. Another example is reaction of copper sulfide with atmosphere. Now atmosphere means oxygen. So copper sulfide reacting with oxygen, that is, these are the reactants over here. Okay, that is copper sulfide Cu2s plus oxygen, that is O2. Fine. It gives us Cu2O plus sulfur dioxide, that is SO2. Fine. So you need to write the reaction and you need to balance it. So this is a first variation, type of a variation which can be asked related to chemical equation. Second type, chemical equations can also be asked in the form of word equation. Now what do you mean by word equation? See, like this. Example given to you, oleum plus water is giving us sulfuric acid. Oleum, which is also called as disulfuric acid, when reacts with water, okay, it gives us sulfuric acid. So word form mein they have given us, we have to write it in the equation form by converting the word into formula. So oleum ka formula is H2S2O7. Okay, water, as we all know, that is H2O. Sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4. So we have written the equation, then we need to balance it. Okay, fine. Next, one more example. Aluminium plus steam gives us alumina plus hydrogen gas. Okay, aluminium ka symbol is Al. Steam means water. Okay, that is H2O. It gives us alumina. Alumina is nothing but aluminium oxide, that is Al2O3, plus hydrogen gas, that is H2. So we have a reaction over here. Aluminium, that is Al, plus H2O gives us Al2O3 plus H2 gas. The same thing, after writing the entire equation, we need to balance it. Okay, fine. Next, one more variation they can give you. They will give you a skeletal equation. Skeletal equation means they will give you the unbalanced equation. You need to balance it. Okay, so you can see the example, KClO3 will give you KCl plus oxygen, that is O2. So this is unbalanced. This is a skeletal equation. You need to balance it. Fine. One more example, copper, that is Cu, plus concentrated nitric acid HNO3 gives us copper nitrate plus nitrogen dioxide plus water. This is also unbalanced. You need to balance it. Clear? Fine. And the last type of variation that can be asked as incomplete or incorrect chemical equation. Okay, for example, first we'll talk about incorrect one. See, the given equation, the red color ka equation, which is the incorrect equation. Manganese oxide, okay, that is MnO2 plus HCl will give us MnCl. That is, they mean to say कि manganese chloride along with water plus chlorine. Okay, so here we can see manganese chloride, that is MnCl, which they have given, that is the wrong formula. So you need to correct it, that is MnCl2. Okay, even chlorine ka jo formula they have given, that is also wrong, which we need to correct it, that is Cl2. Is it clear? Fine. And then you have to balance it entirely. This was the example for incorrect equation. Let's talk about the incomplete equation. So incomplete will be like the fill in the blanks. Okay, the reactants will be given to you, products you have to write it down. Okay, so you can see over here AgNO3 plus CaCl2 is given. So what will be the products? Ca reacts with nitrate, that is CaNO3 twice, plus AgCl. Fine. So chemical reaction or chemical equations can be asked in these many variable questions. Is this clear? Fine. So this was about the one type of question, that is chemical equations. Okay. Next is multiple choice question. Fine. In the question number 1 itself, okay, multiple choice questions may be asked. They will give you a diagram, okay, and related to it, they will give you some questions. Okay, now these all questions, students, okay, these all questions are of one mark each. Okay, and if the multiple choice question is having 4 questions, okay, 4 sub questions, that means you have 4 marks over there. Fine. So each one of the MCQ is of 1 mark each. Fine. So let's talk about this question, students. Okay. So the very first question is, if the crystal is moistened with water, dash color of crystal reappears. Okay. So before we go ahead with the questions, let me tell you, this is a test tube in which copper sulfate crystals are being heated. Okay, copper sulfate crystals are being heated. As you know, in our lower standards, copper sulfate is also, we have learned copper sulfate is also called as blue vitriol. Okay, so if the crystals are moistened with the water, that color of the crystal will reappear. So which color of the crystal will reappear over here? So it is blue vitriol. So if you add water, the crystal will again turn into blue. Is this clear? Fine. Let's move on to the next question. What is the commercial name for calcium sulfate hemihydrate? Okay, calcium sulfate hemihydrate is nothing but POP, that is plaster of Paris. So calcium sulfate hemihydrate is nothing but POP, but plaster of Paris. Clear? So next question. Dash water molecules are present in one formula unit of copper sulfate. Now students, what is this water molecules? As we have learned, okay, each crystals have some water molecules present in them. Okay, that water molecules are called as water of crystallization. So that water molecules, how many water molecules does copper sulfate has? This is asked. So copper sulfate का formula क्या है? CuSO4 dot 5H2O. So how many water molecules are present? 5 water molecules are present. Clear? So the answer, correct answer is 5. Fine. Last question. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate. This is nothing but plaster of Paris. Okay, calcium sulfate hemihydrate, nothing but plaster of Paris, is prepared by heating one of the following to the temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so what is plaster of Paris? So plaster of Paris is nothing but CaSO4 half H2O. Is this clear? So यहाँ पे here, okay, we have 4 questions. Fine. So for each of them are of 1 mark. So from the one question itself, you get 4 marks over here. Fine. MCQ's question is fixed in your question number 1. Fine. So it may have a different variety in which it may be asked. Okay, sometimes it may be asked in the form of graph. Sometimes it may be asked in this form, that is diagram will be given and the questions will be asked. So many other different table will be given, the questions will be asked. So many different methods can be asked here. Okay, fine. Next type of question in question number 1, that is section A, is the assertion and reason type question. Students, this is a new type of a question which is added in your paper pattern. Okay, so that question, each of the assertion and reason type question will have 4 options. Okay, each is in front of you. The very first is A wala option is both A and R. A means assertion, R means reason, are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. Second is both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation for A. Here, both the statement will be true, but R will not relate with A. So that is option number B. In option number C, you can see A is true, but R is false. Only one statement is true, that is assertion, but R is false. D wala, D is A is false, but R is true. Here you can say ki assertion is false, assertion is wrong, but the reason is true. Okay, so you have to choose your answer option from these all 4 options. Okay, let's have few examples. The very first question you can see, following the assertion statement, following are the structural isomers of butane. Okay, so let's see the structures first. Can you see the first structure over here? Butane. Butane means how many carbon atoms? 4. Okay, so how many carbon atoms? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So is this a butane? Yes, it's a butane. Let's talk about the next compound. So let's check 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many carbon over here? Here also 4. So I can say that they are the structural isomers of butane. Okay, formula, they are having same formula, but they are having different structures. Okay, so let's see what reason they have told us. Reason is structural isomers have same molecular formula, but they differ in their structures. Is it correct? Is this the correct explanation for the assertion which they have given us? Yes, it is correct. Is it clear? Fine. So they have explained that structural isomers have same molecular formula, but they will have different structures. Okay, so which one is correct option from these 4? Yes, first one is the correct option, that is both A and R are true, and also R is the correct explanation for A. Fine. So A is the correct option. Clear? Next, we'll have one more example. Assertion. The statement is MnO2, that is manganese oxide, plus HCl, that is 4HCl, hydrochloric acid. On reacting, it will give us MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus Cl2. Fine. So this is the assertion over here. Reason. Manganese oxide loses oxygen and gets reduced to manganese chloride with the help of hydrochloric acid. Is it true or false? Let's see. What they have told us, manganese oxide loses oxygen. Manganese oxide MnO2, it has got converted into MnCl2. So, uh, is it losing oxygen? Yes, it is losing oxygen. It not only losing oxygen and getting reduced to manganese chlorides. Yes, losing of oxygen is what? It is reduction. So it is getting reduced to manganese chloride. Okay, with the help of hydrochloric acid. Is this clear? Fine. So which statement, which of the following option is correct for this, for the second one? Yes, here also we will have the first option, that is both A and R. Okay, both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A. Fine. So here also we have option A. Next, last example we'll have over here. Assertion, third wala statement, assertion, Fe2O3 plus aluminium is giving us Al2O3 plus Fe, that is iron. Okay, so iron oxide plus aluminium is giving me aluminium oxide plus iron. Can you see this reaction thoda bahut displacement jaisa lag raha hai? Right? So it is a type of displacement reaction. Fine. So here you can say aluminium is more reactive than iron. So therefore it is displacing iron from its position. You can see over here, aluminium is displacing iron and getting combined with the oxygen. So it is forming aluminium oxide, that is Al2O3, along with iron, that is Fe. Okay, let's see the reason what they have given us. Aluminium is more reactive. Okay, the reason is correct. Let's see the next part. Then iron. Okay, fine. And therefore, Fe displaces aluminium from its oxide. Is this correct? No. Okay, see, aluminium is more reactive than iron. Fine, till here it is correct. But then they have changed the total meaning of the statement. Okay, they have written something which changes the entire meaning of the statement. And therefore, Fe displaces aluminium. Is iron displacing aluminium? No. Aluminium is displacing iron from its oxide. Right? So what happens over here? Assertion is true, but reason is not true. So reason is false. So what will be the option over here? A is true, but R is false. That is option number C. Fine. So in this way, students, assertion reason type questions, you have to answer it. Okay. So these type of questions are also asked in a section A, that is 1 mark question. Fine. Okay, let's talk about next thing, section A. Okay, in section A many more type of questions are asked. For example, one word answer type question means they will ask you some question and you have to answer them in a one word. Okay, also structure of carbon compounds may asked. Okay, they will tell you draw structure of pentane, draw structure of hexane, draw structure of methane, or draw structure of ethene, like that. Fine. So they can ask you the carbon ka structure drawing wala question also. Fine. Next is definition. Definition can also be asked for 1 mark. Okay, so these are the variation in the question pattern which can be asked in a section 1, that is section A, that is for 1 mark question each. Right? So with this we end up with the section A. Let's talk with this for the section B. Now students, section B is the second section. It has two number of questions, matlab, related to chemistry. 2 to 3 questions may be asked for you. Fine, each will be of 2 mark. Okay, so basically here activity type of questions will be asked. Okay, so let's talk about the very first example over here. Two elements X and Y have the atomic number 12 and 16 respectively. Okay, so to which period of the modern periodic table do these elements belong? What type of bond will be formed between them and why? Also, they have asked you to give their chemical formula. Okay, let's start with the first half of things. We'll read the half things and then we'll answer. Two elements X and Y have atomic number 12 and 16. Now, when you talk about any elements ka atomic numbers, immediately write their electronic configuration. So X ka atomic number is 12 and Y ka atomic number is 16. So if X ka atomic number is 12, what will be the electronic configuration? 2 comma 8 comma 2. Okay, and if Y ka electronic configuration is 16, so what will be the electronic atomic number is 16, so what will be the electronic configuration? 2 comma 8 comma, yes, exactly, 2 comma 8 comma 6. Fine. So your students, now tell me, X and Y, each of them with the help of electronic configuration, you can see each of them are having 3 shells. If they are having 3 shells, let's answer the second question. What they have asked: to which period of the modern periodic table do these elements, 2 elements, belong? So 3 shells means how many which period? Third period. Fine. Number of shells indicate the number of period the element belong to. Fine. Now let's talk about the next question. What they are telling us, asking us, what type of bond will be formed between them and Y? Okay, let's see the electronic configuration of X. X ka electronic configuration is 2 comma 8 comma 2. So if X wants to become stable, what it will do? It is having only 2 electron in its last shell. So to become stable, X will donate electron, or X will lose its 2 electron. Okay, what about Y? 2 comma 8 comma 6. To attain stability, how many electrons are less in Y? Yes, it has 2 electrons less. So what it will do? It will gain 2 electron. Okay, it will accept 2 electrons. Fine. So X will donate 2 electrons. Y will accept 2 electrons. Fine. So giving and taking of electrons. Fine. Giving and taking of electrons will lead to formation of ionic bonds. As I have told you, GST karenge. Okay, they will do GST. They will do give and take of electrons. Fine. Giving and taking of electrons will lead to which bond? They will form the ionic bond. Fine. Okay, now let's talk about the what type of a compound, or I can say formula of a compound they will form. Just a minute. Okay, so pay attention over here. X. Okay, X, and this is Y. Okay, how, what is the valency of X? How many electron it loses or it gives? Yes, it will give 2 electrons. So matlab valency of X will be 2. Okay, Y, how, what will be the valency of Y? How many electrons Y will take? It will take 2 electrons. So valency of Y will also be 2. Okay, so now can you see both the elements are having same valency? So same valency will get cancelled. So this is 2 ones are, again over here 2 ones are. Is this clear? So when you crisscross this valency, you will get the formula as X, Y. Is this clear? Fine. So what will be the formula for the compound? That is X, Y. Fine. So this is the first question. Okay, this type of question can be asked. Let's move ahead with the next question. Okay. Next question is this. You are provided with 90 ml of distilled water. Fine. You are provided with 90 ml of distilled water and 10 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid to prepare dilute sulfuric acid. What is the correct way of preparing dilute sulfuric acid? Give reason. Fine. So they have given you 90 ml ka distilled water and 10 ml ka sulfuric acid. You have to prepare a dilute sulfuric acid. Fine. So what will be the correct method, they're asking. Now students, when we have started learning acid, bases and salts, okay, we have seen we always add acid to water and never we add water to acid. Okay, so what we will do, we will add 10 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid slowly into the 90 ml of distilled water. Okay, by constant stirring, constantly we will stir it. Okay, because it's a concentrated sulfuric acid which we are diluting. Fine. So when you constantly stir it, dilution of acid, okay, is a highly exothermic, as it is a concentrated acid. Fine. So a lot of energy will be liberated because it's a highly exothermic process. Fine. So if water is added to concentrated acid, okay, now what we have actually done, we have added concentrated acid to water slowly. But instead of it, if we do vice versa, if we add water to acid, what will happen? A large amount of heat will generate. Okay, and will splash the mixture. It will lead the mixture to splash, leading to the burns, and the accidents might take place. Okay, glass containers and all will can break down. Fine, and accidents might take place. And therefore we always add acid to water and never water to acid. Fine, clear? Okay, let's move ahead with the next question over here. Okay, this is the actual activity based question. Fine. So your students, the five solutions are given to you: P, Q, R, S, and T. Okay, tested with a universal indicator. Fine. Universal indicator is the indicator which we use to determine acidics, neutral, or the basic solutions. Okay, strength of the solution, we determine it with the universal indicator by their pH values. Okay, so here are the samples, and the particular pH values are given. You have to differentiate these samples, okay, into neutral, strongly alkaline, strongly acidic, weakly alkaline, weakly acidic, and so on. And then you have to arrange their pH value of the above solutions in increasing order of the H plus ion concentration. Okay, so let's do one by one. First we will arrange this. Okay, sample number, that is P, having a pH 4. So P is having a pH 4. So यहाँ पे what we will have, 4 is near, I can say, when you talk about the pH scale, students, it ranges from 1 to 14. Okay, 7 is the center, which is the neutral solution. 1 is the highly acidic. 14 is the highly basic solution. Okay, that is strongly alkaline solution. So when you talk about 4, it comes in between 1 to 7. Okay, so it is weakly acidic in nature. Fine. Next solution is Q. It is having pH 1, that is strongly acidic. Fine. Next is R, that is 11, that is more than 7, means that is going towards the basic or the alkaline solution. Okay, so it will be strongly alkaline. S is 7. 7 is the neutral solution. Okay. And T is 9. 9 means more than 7. Okay. And it's closer to 7. That means it will be weakly alkaline. Okay. It will be weakly basic in nature. Fine. Now, next is arrange the pH of the above solutions in increasing order of the H plus ions. Increasing order of the H plus ions means H plus ions are more in which solution, acidic or basic? Correct. That is acidic solutions. Okay. H plus ions are more in the acidic solution. Right? So you have to arrange the pH of the above solutions in the increasing order of H plus solution. Means you have to start it from the base and then you have to end it with the acid. Okay, you can see over here. So subse, or I can say the highly basic or the strongly alkaline solution is R, that is with the 11 pH. After that, we have T, that is with the pH 9. After that, we have 7, that is neutral. After that, we have 4. And lastly, we have 1, which is highly acidic, which will contain maximum number of H plus ion concentration. Okay. Fine. So here we have written with the help of pH also, and also we have written with the help of the samples. Fine. So in this way, you have to answer the question. Fine. Yeah. So this is a 2-mark question. Fine. That is section number B. Okay. Next type of question which can be asked in section B is give reason, or they might ask you justify the following statement type wala questions. Okay. The first question here we can relate is hydrogen gas, students, is not evolved when the metals like copper, zinc, iron, etc. react with the nitric acid. Now, students, as you know, whenever a metal reacts with the acid, hydrogen gas is evolved, hydrogen gas is released. But this hydrogen gas is not released when the metals like copper, zinc, and iron react with nitric acid. Why is this so? Let's see the reason about it. Okay. So, students, when you talk about acid, okay, acid usually react, as I told you before, usually acid reacts with metal to form hydrogen gas. Okay. Now, when you talk about nitric acid, that is HNO3, it is a very strong oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent means it will provide oxygen. It will give you a lot of oxygen. Okay, so HNO3 is a strong oxidizing agent. So it will provide a lot of oxygen. Right? So here, when hydrogen gas is formed, okay, this HNO3 oxidizes hydrogen to form water. Right? Means whenever an acid reacts with metal, hydrogen gas is formed. But as HNO3 is strong oxidizing agent, it provides more oxygen. So it converts that hydrogen to water by giving oxygen. That is H2 to H2O by providing oxygen. Fine. Itself reduces, that is HNO3 itself reduces to various nitrogen oxides. For example, nitric oxide, that is NO, NO2, that is nitrogen dioxide, N2O, that is nitrous oxide. Okay, itself it converts into or reduces into nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and nitrous oxide. Right? Hence, these metals do not produce hydrogen gas when they react with HNO3, or I can say nitric acid. This is the only reason why metals reacting with nitric acid will never give you hydrogen gas. Right? So this is the reason. This can be asked you in the form of give reason, or they can also tell you to justify the statement. Okay. Fine. So here is the reaction with the one of the metal. We have seen the reaction with the copper over here. That is copper plus HNO3 giving us copper nitrate, that is CuNO3 twice, plus NO, that is nitrogen oxide, or I can say nitric oxide, plus water, that is H2O. Fine. Okay. So let's talk about the next question. Next question is the metal obtained from limestone floats on water during its reaction with water. Now, students, first of all thing, what do you mean by limestone? Limestone is nothing but the common name for calcium carbonate. Okay, limestone is nothing but the common name for calcium carbonate. Okay, so what they have told you, the metal obtained from limestone. So the metal obtained from calcium carbonate. Now calcium carbonate, which is the metal over here, calcium. Exactly. Right. So metal obtained from limestone or calcium carbonate is calcium. Right. So when the calcium reacts with water, okay, as we have seen, calcium is also one of the highly reactive metal. So when it reacts with water, it reacts, or I can say it reacts with a less vigorous speed, or I can say it is less vigorous in nature as compared to sodium and potassium. Sodium and potassium reacts very vigorously. Okay, very fast. They react very vigorously to give out, or I can say reaction with water. fine. But calcium, as compared to them, reacts very slowly or less vigorous, we can say. Therefore, bubbles of hydrogen gas, fine, the bubbles, as it reacts very slowly, bubbles of hydrogen gas are released in the reaction, fine, in the reaction of calcium with water, and that bubbles, they stick to the surface of the calcium, and therefore we say, therefore it appears to be floating on the water, and therefore we can say that a calcium metal appears to be floating on the water, fine. Bubbles that gives rise, or I can say they start rising and they float on water, fine, and they stick to calcium metal, and therefore it appears that the metal is floating on water, fine. Clear, everyone? Okay, now there is a section C, the third section of your paper, consisting of 3-mark questions. Okay, chemistry related, there the questions will be asked, it might be 3 to 4 questions will be asked related to chemistry, each of 3 marks, fine. Okay, let's see what type of questions. Now students, basically this section consists of sub question type questions. Okay, means they will ask you one question, and related to that they will ask you more sub questions. For example, they have given you an element X belongs to third period and group 16 of modern periodic table. They have given you the period, they have given you the group. Okay, they belong to third period, group 16 of the modern periodic table. Now, based on this, we have to answer that following questions which they have asked us. First is, determine the valency of the electron, determine the valence electron, number of valence electron, and the valency of X. Okay, number of valence electron. Now, as you know, students, number of valence electron, okay, as I have told you, after group 13, okay, for us from group 13, we see the unit digit for the valence electron, fine. So here it's a group 16. What is the unit digit for the valence electrons? That is 6. So valence electron, number of valence electron will be 6. Now if the number of valence electron is 6, what will be the valency? Fine. So what will be the valency? Valency will be 2. Clear? Fine. Next question. Molecular formula of compound when X reacts with hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen, when it reacts with X, that is, when you talk about hydrogen, hydrogen is having a valency 1 and X is having a valency 2, right? So hydrogen 1, X 2. So what will happen? 2 will get multiplied by hydrogen, 1 will multiplied by X. That is crisscross. So we will get H2X. Fine. Okay, so this is the molecular formula. Next is, name the element X and state whether it is a metallic or non-metallic element. Okay, now what is the name of the element X and state whether, right? So what is the element name? S X. X is nothing but the element called as sulfur, which is having a symbol S. Okay, you can make it out because it's belonging to third period. Third period and valency is 2, that is, it is belonging to the group 16. Fine, clear? And as sulfur, यहाँ पे you can see valence electrons are 6, valency is 2. How do we come to know कि valency is 2? Valence electrons are 6. Fine. So what will happen to attain stability? It will receive electron. It will gain electron from someone. How many electron? 2 electrons it will gain. The elements which gain electron are called as non-metals. Fine. So it will be a non-metallic element. It is a non-metal. Fine. Okay. Next, when Fe reacts with chlorine, it gives iron chloride. What they have told us, write down the balanced chemical equation for the above statement. Also state the type of reaction. Let's talk about the very first question now. Fe reacts with chlorine, it gives iron chloride. Fe is iron, reacts with chlorine, that is Fe plus chlorine. Chlorine is Cl2, will give us iron chloride, that is FeCl3, that is ferric chloride. Fine. Okay, because you can take the reaction as this. Fe valency 3, chlorine valency 1, cross Fe1Cl3, that is FeCl3. Fine. So which type of, you have to balance it, and which type of reaction it is. Fe is a metal, chlorine is a non-metal. When metal reacts with non-metals, which compounds are formed? Ionic compounds. Okay, so this is a reaction of metal reacting with non-metal. Fine. Okay, and the next question is, explain why decomposition reactions are said to be the endothermic reaction. Fine. Now, what do you mean by decomposition? Decomposition means breaking. Okay, separating something. Fine. So, whenever there is a decomposition, students, whenever there is a decomposition reaction, there is a breaking of something, there is a separation of something. Okay, so decomposition involves breaking of bonds. Fine. Now, when you want to break the bonds, you need to supply amount of energy. Okay, whereas when you need to form a bond, the energy is being absorbed, or I can say, sorry, the energy is being released. Fine. So when you talk about the breaking of bond, breaking of bond needs the input of energy. Right? Since decomposition involves breaking of bond, fine, that is large molecules, it will convert into small molecules by addition of energy, by the input of energy. Okay, and therefore we say decomposition reactions are endothermic reactions, because for breaking of bond the energy is being provided, is being inputted. Fine. So this is these are the 3-mark questions over here. Fine. Yeah, here in the question number 2, 1 mark will be there for your writing the equation, balanced equation. 1 mark for telling, 1 mark for writing which type of reaction it is, and 1 mark for this, why decomposition reactions are said to be endothermic. That is, this is 3-mark question. Fine. Last question with a 3-mark, last type of a question can be asked. That is, picture is shown to you and the questions are being asked, you need to answer them. Okay, let's talk about the very first question. It's a periodic table ka question, you can see it very clearly. Write the element of the symbol Q. Now what will be the element of symbol Q? As we know, symbol Q is belonging to the second period. Okay, second period, that means it will have only 2 shells. Okay, so second period, and it will have only 2 shells, that is, it is nitrogen. So how we come to know it is nitrogen? I have given you the shortcuts to remember. We have the shortcuts to remember first 20 elements, right? Hi, hello, listen, BBC, news on Friday night. News stands for, that is, seventh element, that is nitrogen, which is Q. You can count here also. Hi, hello, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Q is the seventh element, that is N, that is news, that is nitrogen. Fine, so this is nitrogen over here. Next, arrange the elements P, Q and R in increasing order of their metallic character. P, Q and R in the increasing order of their metallic character. Means the least metallic, okay, will be here at the first, and the most metallic will be at the last, because they have told you increasing order of metallic character. Sabse zyada metallic will be at the last. Okay, so who is the least metallic among these three? Obviously R, because R is a non-metal, right? 16th group mein hai, so obviously it's a non-metal. So R will be the least metallic, or I can say it is non-metallic. After that, Q, and the most metallic will be P, like this. Fine. And the last question, will element R and S have same number of valence electrons? State the reason. Where is R and S? See, R and S. Will they have the same number of valence electron? Will they have the same number of valence electron? Yes, because they are belonging to the same group. Okay, the entire group, the elements of the entire group will have, all will have same valence electron, and therefore they have same valency. We have seen this in one of the trends. Okay, so yes, the elements R and S will have same number of valence electrons, that is 6. Okay, because they belong to a same group, that is 16. Clear? Fine. So now here we end up with the section C. Now we are left with the last section over here, that is section D. Okay, last section is of 5-mark questions. Okay, number of questions here asked is hardly 2 questions of chemistry can be asked. Basically only 1 question is asked, but if by chance they can ask you 2 questions also. Fine. Okay, so let's talk about the first question over here. Okay, so this is a long big question over here. 4 samples, A, B, C, and D. Change the color of pH paper or a solution to green, reddish pink, blue, and orange with their pH was recorded as 7, 2, 10.5, and 6 respectively. Means A का pH है 7, B's pH is 2, C's pH is 10.5, D's pH is 6. Okay, now let's answer the questions what they have asked us. Which of the following sample has the highest amount of hydrogen ion concentration? Hydrogen ion concentration, higher the number means the highest amount of hydrogen ion concentration. That means it will be highly acidic. Highly acidic. That means it will have the pH near, it will have a pH near to 1. So which is the element over here having, which is a sample over here having pH value near to 1? Exactly, that is 2, which is which sample is having the pH of 2? That is sample B. Exactly. Okay, so this is the first question ka answer. Let's talk about the B part. Arrange the 4 samples in decreasing order of their pH. Decreasing order of their pH means big to small. Which is the big one? 10.5. 10.5 is the pH of C. Okay. After that, 7, that is A. After that, 6, that is D. And the last is 2, that is B. So what will be the decreasing order? Decreasing order will be C, A, D, and B. C, A, D, and B. Fine? Okay. Second question which they have asked us. Give the uses of plaster of Paris. Of now students, plaster of Paris ka uses, we have a lot of uses of plaster of Paris. Okay, that is making of toys, dolls, statues. Okay, fixing the broken limbs, fracture के लिए use जो होता है, fracture fix करने के लिए. Okay, many decorative materials are being used. Okay, for many preparation of many decorative materials, various things, POP or the plaster of Paris is being used. So you can write any of these uses. Okay, at least 2 uses you should write. Fine. Last question. Pawan found that POP which he stored in a container has become very hard, right, and lost its binding nature. What is the reason for this? Also write the chemical equation represent the reaction taking place. Now students, Pawan found that the POP which he stored in the container has become very hard and it has lost its binding nature. POP, okay, जब hard हो रहा है, that means POP has been converted into a hard substance. Where, how? Yeah, just kept in the container. Kept in the container means it has been exposed to the atmosphere. Atmosphere is containing moisture. Moisture means water. So POP when reacts with water, it's converted into the hard solid material called as gypsum. Clear, everyone? Fine. So for here the reaction is like this. Fine. That is CaSO4 plus CSO4 dot half H2O will give a plus 1.5 H2O will give a CSO4 dot 2 H2O. So this is a gypsum which is formed, which is very hard in nature. Fine. Okay. So this was the very first type of question which can be asked in the 5 marks question. Okay, let's talk about the next type. Next type may they have asked you write down the electronic configuration of the elements and answer the following questions with the explanation. These are the elements given to you: sodium, lithium, potassium, lithium, sodium, and beryllium. Question what they have asked you: which of these atoms have smallest atomic radius? Now, students, whenever the questions like this is asked, they have given you the atomic number. Initially, write it down the electronic configuration of all the elements which they have given. Okay, so potassium, lithium, sodium, beryllium, you have to write the electronic configuration. Now, what they have asked you, they have asked the which is the smallest atomic radius. Now, when you talk about the electronic configuration, you can see it clearly. Potassium is with 4 shells, lithium is with 2 shells, sodium is with 3 shells, that is 2, 8, 1. Beryllium is with the 2 shells, that is 2, 2. Fine. Now, here the answer, conclusion of the answer is beryllium has the smallest atomic radius. Why? The first thing which you have to see is number of shells. Who is having less number of shells over here? Yes, that is lithium is having 2 number of shells and beryllium is also having 2 number of shells. Okay. So out of these two, one of the element is the smallest one. Now, out of these two, which is the smallest? The element which is having more number of valence electron will be the smallest one. Okay, so which is having the more number of valence electron among lithium and beryllium? Exactly, beryllium. So beryllium will be the smallest one. Clear, everyone? Because as the number of valence electron is more, okay, there will be a greater pull from the nucleus. And as there is a greater pull from the nucleus, the size of the atom will shrink and they will become smaller and smaller and smaller. And therefore, more number of valence electron, the size will be less. Right? This is the A part ka question. Second is B part. Nitrogen, hydrogen, calcium, sulfur, beryllium, and argon. Okay, they are asking which of these belongs to second group. Now, what we have studied about the group, number of shells is equal to the number of period, number of valence electron is equal to the number of shells. Okay, fine. So, your students, let's write the electronic configuration. Nitrogen 2, 5, hydrogen 1, calcium 20, that is 2, 8, 8, 2, sulfur is 16, 2, 8, 6, beryllium 2, 2, argon 2, 8, 8. Okay, now from here, what do we conclude that which of them belong to second group? Okay, as I've told you just now, key number of shells is equal to the number of period, okay, and number of valence electron is equal to the number of group. Okay, so what is the second group over here? Second group means what will be the number of valence electron? 2. So so here you can observe which of the elements are having 2 number of valence electron, that is calcium and beryllium. You can see valence electron in calcium is 2 as well as in beryllium is also 2. So if they're having 2 electrons in the valence shell, that means they belong to the group 2. Fine, everyone. So this is how you answer the questions based on the questions which are asked to you all. Okay, systematically each points will have their own marks. Okay, so with this we end up with the lecture over here. All the very best, everyone. Take care and good luck for your exam. Thank you.